Blade Runner 2049 is directed by Denis Villeneuve, and it stars Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling and a few other actors in there. So, what do you feel about the first movie? Do you like Blade Runner, the original?
I do like Blade Runner. It's not like this classic masterpiece that a lot of people hold it up to be. I'd say it's a movie I respect more than I'd like.
Yeah.
I appreciate the inspiration, how it's influential in a lot of movies, but at the same time, it's just kind of a slow movie, and it's just not one of those sci-fi masterpieces that I, continually go back to. I respect it, but I can't say like I love it.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you on that one. I do respect the movie. I think it's gorgeously shot. I think it's very influential, but it is very slow moving, and it's just not a movie I revisit very often,
Right.
I guess. So, what do you think? Well, we got a new director now. Ridley Scott's producing this one. So, what do you think of the direction, the pacing? Do you think it matches the original?
Yeah, and I will say this, with Ridley Scott kind of going back to all of his old franchises, I'm glad that he didn't direct this one.
Yeah.
Or else I probably wouldn't have been as excited about it, but I was very excited that Denis Villeneuve was directing this. He directed Arrival, Sicario, Enemy, and Prisoners, both movies with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he has a really good sense of drama, and the camera movements, just everything. His movies are beautiful. He usually collaborates with, in my opinion, the greatest cinematographer of all time, Roger Deakins, that he did with this one as well. And once again, beautifully shot. I mean, this movie is gorgeous. Gives you all different kinds of landscapes, different color schemes. There's like dreary black, kind of original Blade Runner. Then there's like this bright orange color palette when he's in the desert.
And the snowy times too.
I think that it's a good blend, and there's beautiful camera work in this one, and just once again, Denis Villeneuve delivers a beautiful looking movie.
I completely agree with you on that one. I think this is a wonderful choice for a director, and honestly, I could not find a bad shot in this movie. It is honestly pretty perfect when it comes to direction, just set design. I would say cinematography just alone. I was blown away by the cinematography, and like IMAX was worth it for sure for this movie. This was a visual feast for the eyes. But we talk about the pacing of the original Blade Runner and how slow it is. Did you find that pace was? I mean, this movie is 2 hours and 44 minutes, so it's a long movie.
Yeah, and I won't lie to you, the runtime did kind of intimidate me for a second, like, oh man, am I going to be sitting there just wanting to pee for the last hour and a half or what? But no, this movie, it's surprisingly, it's like about a half hour longer than the original. I think it moves a lot more briskly. Totally. Even though there are some times where it's just like, where there are these long shots and long drawn out moments without any dialogue. But it's still just at the same time just soaking in all the beautiful imagery, and it's really creating tension. It's effectively drawing out scenes.
I think so too, and I like movies that, especially when they're so good to look at like this one, that does take their time. You let the actors use their facial expressions and their emotions to really tell the story along the way. This isn't very dialogue heavy, but
the first one's very dialogue. This one's far less.
Yeah, and this one's a little more of a visual storytelling, and I really enjoyed watching this movie. Was it a touch long? Yes, it felt just a little bit long, but not nearly as bad as I thought it would be going in. I thought going in I'd be like checking my watch or having to go to the bathroom or getting distracted, but never was I distracted. I was invested in this movie, definitely.
Yeah, and I think that also, you mentioned the performances. I think that Ryan Gosling, he really does help carry this movie too.
Yeah, big time.
He's, much like the first one, he's trying to solve this mystery. It is still a detective noir type movie, but also there's some thriller elements, and there's also action elements. I mean, there's really long fight scene, there's gunplay, there's kind of explosions and everything. So I think that also helps with the pacing, that it's not just a straight up kind of neo-noir like the original was. It added different elements in it to help speed up the movie.
I agree, and the action was a little bit more modern. It's a little bit, more for our time and the type of attention spans that we have nowadays. But also, going back to the feel of it, it did have the feel of the first one. There are real sets here. It's not so CGI heavy, and really the integration of CGI was pretty seamless in this movie. It was really good special effects in this movie.
Oh, the special effects in this movie are just about flawless. And there's a lot in this movie that I'm just wondering, how did they do that? Yeah, and I think that just the special effects, both practical and CGI, blended together so well, you can't tell which is which.
No, it fools the eye big time. Top to bottom, production-wise, this movie is 100% amazing, I would say.
Yeah, but Nate, let's get into the performances. I mean, we talked about Ryan Gosling. What did you think about him as taking over as the lead character?
Once again, I have to praise Ryan Gosling. I mean, I really mostly like everything that he's in, and in this, he takes a different turn in this movie. He is reserved, he's quiet, he uses his facial expressions. I mean, we're not going to go into spoilers of who his character really is, but he has to convey a lot without saying a lot, and I think he does an incredible job in this movie. I was really impressed with him. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is kind of like a Drive-esque performance to him. Very stoic, very subtle and muted and everything. But with this one, his character goes through a lot more, and his character is unlike Drive, he's got something motivating him to push the plot and really discover something about himself and about not only his own humanity, but like what humanity means.
Yeah.
And I think that he conveys that. You're right, through facial expressions. He does a lot with very little dialogue.
Yeah, and you care about him through the whole thing, and you really you watch this character grow on screen with the more he learns, and like you said, humanity, all that. It just really, I think it was conveyed well. I really don't have any gripes with any of the performances either. They're all really good.
Yeah, and I want to point out Sylvia Hooks, who played Love.
Yeah.
The kind of like the replicant who's the right-hand man to, or right-hand woman in this case, to Jared Leto.
Yep.
Kind of like the main goon, main henchman. I thought she did a really good job. She was very menacing. She was a good villain.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I walked in this movie and I'm like, I'm not a big Jared Leto guy anyway. And I just wasn't looking forward to him being the villain, but she really took center stage as the main antagonist.
Definitely. And she's more of like a physical antagonist that, she can stand toe-to-toe with Ryan Gosling's character, when really Jared Leto's character is not on screen all that much, and he's very behind the scenes on this whole thing. And I'm not huge on the Jared Leto train either, but he didn't bother me in this.
No, he didn't bother me. It's just I wasn't looking forward to him having a large role, but he didn't have a large role. And speaking of not having a large role for easily the first half of this movie, like Harrison Ford just comes in, and I think like at that point he kind of takes over the narrative a little bit when Harrison Ford comes in.
Yeah, it does shift a little bit there.
Yeah, but I was fine with that, because Blade Runner, once again, it's not a movie I continually go back to, where there may be like subtle nostalgic clues, set pieces, little things here and there for the fans, but like really when Harrison Ford came back, that's when it's like, all right, we're in full Blade Runner.
Yeah, I agree, but I really liked the meeting of Ryan Gosling's character and Harrison Ford. I thought that was such a cool scene. And Harrison Ford, once again, pretty reserved. He gives time to breathe a little bit, and that's with this dialogue that's exchanged. Everyone takes their time and they think a lot before the next sentence comes upon. Like it's not this jibber jabber back and forth that's really quick witted. People sit and stare off for a moment and then respond, and it's kind of refreshing to a certain extent.
But let's go into what did you not like about this movie? Is there anything you didn't like about this movie?
There's very little I didn't like about this movie. I really think that the length. I mean, I think that it could have just been a little bit more briskly paced when it comes to the action. I think there are a few lulls that run a little bit, maybe the 45-minute mark, maybe, where it's a lot of no dialogue. But other than that, that's a very, very small gripe. I really have very few gripes with this. I enjoyed this way more than I thought I would. You were super excited about it, and I was like, Blade Runner, whatever. But one thing, once again, the rewatchability, I don't think it's quite there. The IMAX experience of these visuals was why I think I was so invested. On home television, I'm not really sure if I'd get that invested in it.
Yeah, I feel like there's just kind of almost a lack of resolution with this movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
You see there's like a obvious antagonist, an obvious protagonist, and you just feel like there's no result.
Yeah.
I mean, the story comes along, and it does very well explore the themes, once again, like the original, of what exactly it means to be human.
Yeah.
But I just feel like at the end, like I just wanted more closure. I just wanted it to be a little nipped in the bud at the end. It's not that it was left open for interpretation or anything like that. It's just that there were plot lines that felt kind of went unresolved.
Buffs. All right, so we gave our thoughts on the movie Blade Runner 2049. Dennis, why don't you put a score on it?
I really enjoyed this movie. Walking in, I had the bare bottom expectations, just because these sequels 20, 30 years after the fact, when did they ever work out? Well, I guess Blade Runner 2049 is the exception to the rule, because this is an excellent movie. Go see it in IMAX if you can. And I'm going to give Blade Runner 2049 an 8.5 out of 10.
All right, yeah, I really enjoyed my experience with this. Like you, I went in just being like, we'll see if the sequel can pull it off. But this is a movie on its own. This is its own thing, and it doesn't have to use the crush of the previous movie to be a great film. I think this is, on its own, a great film. Once again, for this director, just another notch on his belt of another great movie that he made. I'm going to go even a little bit higher. I'm going to go 9 out of 10 for this one. I really enjoyed Blade Runner 2049. Go check it out for sure.
Buffs.
So that's it for our review of Blade Runner 2049. What did you guys think of the movie? What did you think of the original? Why don't you go ahead and leave a comment down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate all the support.
Yep, next week we're going to be reviewing The Foreigner, starring Jackie Chan. And
Jackie
also
Chan in a Hollywood movie.
Bronson as well, yeah. So that'll be good. And we also have Spooktober still going on right now. All sorts of spooky reviews coming your way. So stay tuned, but don't you forget.
There's no place like the theater.